I was standing at the door of what was promised to be my lakeside home, beautifully furnished and grand. A dramatic contrast to the floors that I had slept on and the plastic grocery bags that I had lived out of back home in India. The man who was standing next to me was my new husband, who had swept me off my feet, courted me lovingly, and stood by me for the seemingly long time it took to get my spousal visa. I had lived a lifetime of pain and beatings, and my first marriage to a drug addict had left me homeless, degraded, and seen as failure in my home for being a divorced woman with a child. This was my proof that dreams do come true. Only the house by the lake was actually a room in Parkdale. I clutched my young daughter as we walked past the prostitute standing at the door and made our way up to a dingy room with only a mattress on the floor. My new husband said to me, "Welcome to Canada. I will be back tomorrow morning." And then he left us. My blood ran cold. This was the beginning of my life in Canada. What followed next were 8 years of torture. Despite having 3 beautiful children with him, I was reduced to a slave in my own home, enduring endless emotional and verbal abuse while my husband continued to live with his ex-wife and have children with her. He visited me only to get his office work done and to use and abuse me. In 2006, I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, a paralysis that had distorted my face. "You are ugly," he said to me. I began to loathe myself and sat for hours in the washroom, clenching a fistful of Tylenol pills. Lights turned out and tears flooding down my distorted face. I wanted to die. But my children, I was terrified to leave my children alone. In 2013, I was diagnosed with cancer, a cancer that had spread to my lymph nodes. That was devastating to me. I had lived in the constant threat of my children being snatched away, in the fear that my husband would have me deported, and now I was afraid that I was going to die. Yes, I died. Who you see in front of you now is not that slave woman, but a champion who overcame adversity in her own life. On the day of my surgery, as I lay on the surgery table in the operating room, I made a promise to myself that if I lived, I would save myself and my children from this miserable life of abuse. We deserved better. That moment that adversity gave to me was a gift. And in that moment, I was freed. I'm relieved to share with you that I'm happily divorced. and live a joyous life with my children. I have written 2 books that are in production and created a program called Be Your Own North Star that empowers women to be their own guiding force. My purpose now is to share my message. For every mother who thinks her daughter is a burden, a father will only want a son. For every sister who instigates and provokes her brother to demand for dowry, a woman will be tortured and a family will fall apart. And for every wife who hushes up her husband's atrocities, a woman like me will be defiled and abused. So my loving tribe, especially those who are diminished by their own fears, this voice is for you. May my adversity be a gift that inspires you.